On this occasion of the National Science Day, Jain deemed to be University School of Sciences Block 2 welcomes all the esteemed and distinguished alumni of various departments to this innovative theme on the importance of science, technology, and innovation for the progress of our nation and the importance of science in the society. So it is wonderful meeting all the alumni of our School of Sciences. So we have here Sundar from the Department of Physical Sciences, we have Vishnu Ashok from the Department of Life Sciences, Ramya Ashwat from Psychology, Vidharan from Forensic Sciences. Our department, the prestigious and distinguished alumnus of various departments are being part of this wonderful panel discussion. Science, innovation and technology can be used and how science plays a major role in the development of the society.
Thank you, Matthew sir, and it's indeed a pleasure to be part of this panel discussion. So on the offset, let me thank the Office of Communications and yourself for having me here today. And currently I am a research scholar at the School of Sciences in the Department of Physics, Jain deemed to be University. And my area of research is the astrophysics, and I study what are known as supermassive black holes. I'm doing right now is kind of has been only because of the several kinds of inputs and the support that was given right through the academic kind of schedule when we were there during the bachelor's time, and it's really been very helpful. And I think whatever the curriculum we had, though it's slightly modified right now, I was there almost a decade ago, but even then the relevance has not been lost.
Wonderful, Sundar. Thank you for your inputs of what has been done, and your credit always goes to your alma mater. May I now have Mr. Vishnu?
Thank you, sir. It's actually a pleasure to be part of this panel. This has been quite a forefront in current discussions, especially with regard to science, technology, and innovation, because our country is developing and it is becoming one of the forefront of science and technology. And I believe the opportunities that we are being presented with is at a whole different scale as compared to never before. It's unprecedented, really. I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of older professors, a lot of alumni, quite a bit of people who have been in the field over the past few decades or so. It's quite the shift forward. Even with regard to my field, I have completed my bachelor's at Jain University School of Sciences Block 2. This opportunity to understand what opportunities are available in the first place, I think that was what led me down this path. And this wasn't really available if you look back 20, 30 years ago. And I think this is going to be something amazing that we can actually look forward to.
It's time for Ramya to give her insights about what she was in our university. Yes, Ramya, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, thank you, Matthew, sir, for this wonderful opportunity and taking me on this panel. Moving on, I would say that firstly, identifying psychology as a science in itself was a difficult journey for all the professionals all these days. Very recently or very few years ago, we recognize that yes, psychology in itself is also a science which has empirical evidences, and so we have come down that way, and we have reached to a point where yes, psychology also holds a value of science in the Indian community especially. Of course, there was prevalence in various other communities as well, but yeah, it took a longer time. So, but I am definitely privileged to be in the generation where psychology is also recognized as a science, and that is why we are here today. the trainings outside, outreach programs, which helped us gain enormous knowledge, and that is how we are here today. And personally, what I am today, working at 3 different places, means that because of the experience and the exposure that we had given from the department. So I should definitely thank Jain Deemed to be University and the Department of Psychology for that. And also, just to mention about the education system and the core aspect of these topics, I think it's definitely evolving in a very different way back than what my parents or my grandparents have studied. But today it's definitely evolving, and the best thing about is science, technology, and innovation coming together, especially with the concept of different disciplines coming together and working together. And our science, innovation, technology policy says it as well. So different disciplines coming together and working together, that is the greatest change that we have got. And of course, I believe that is for the betterment.
Thank you, Ramya. Over to you, Viduran.
I recently passed out of the School of Sciences, Jain University, JC Road. So I'm from the Department of Forensic Science. As far as the university is concerned, as far as the topic is concerned, it is actually the need of the hour. So we fresh graduates who have passed out of a college or an institution find it challenging. A lot of us find it challenging to cope up with the current trends of the educational implementation. Jain University was a place that taught me about the current system of education, where they differentiated the task and achievement sense of verbs. You don't just talk, you apply things directly. So the aspect of exploration is very much needed in students today, which is what I saw after graduating from Jain. I should really thank Jain University for providing me such resourceful materials, or the infrastructure, or I should say the elite squad of teachers who taught me the subject. So they helped me get a hold of the subject in such a way that I started living with the subject.
Yes, Viduran, thank you for your inputs on that. On this celebration of National Science Day, let us come back to our theme, that is the impact of sciences, that is the impact of science, innovation and technology. So since we were all made to sit back at our homes because of one unknown identity, what we are not able to see, all of us were sitting at home, or even now the pandemic crisis is going on throughout the world. How can you guys think about the field of education, the field about science and technology in implementing your ideas in curbing this crisis? Because we are all from the science background, and let's make it crisp and brief so that it is interesting for the society. How you can implement your science to curb the crisis of pandemic, and how it can be beneficial for the society. Because we at present the sciences, it could be any form of sciences, it plays a major role when compared to the other streams of education. How is that your science is playing an important role, and what has to be changed? Anybody with your suggestions?
First thing is, we have to understand the fact that even though we are from diverse domains or disciplines within the sciences, I don't think in the nature you can literally see it separate out. So there is no physics, chemistry, maths, biology in science. It's pretty much nature and science. Looking from that perspective, I think whatever we study in the classrooms, they form the most essential foundation and basics to understand a lot of nuances at a much higher level. In simple to say, if I hadn't attended my biochemistry classes during my BSc times, and if I just had neglected it, probably I would not understand how the virus behaves, or how the immune system kind of responds to a virus, an external agent like a virus. Of course, I might not have gotten a complete hold on what happens, or what kind of proteins, or what happens to your DNA, RNA, or any other detailing. but I certainly can at least not look at stars literally when I hear the jargon of what the actual scientists who are working in the domain are discussing. So I think as what needs to be imparted in our education system is not to look at sciences as separate streams, even though we have majors, even though we have some sort of kind of bias or liking to a certain specific subdiscipline. It is essential that we all learn everything, a bit of everything, and then specialize in something very specific, so that when such situations arise, like pandemic is one such situation where my basic understanding of biochemistry and biology and virus was very, very helpful when I worked as a corona warrior. So I was able to communicate to the general populace the impact and effects of corona to the immune system. Of course, at a very layman level, to the extent that I understood, to the extent I could communicate back to them. But I think that foundation really did a lot of benefit to me.
So based on your inputs, I feel even though you are not from a biology related background, I feel the present scenario, what you have understood is educating people and creating awareness about the present situation. So that's wonderful.
True.
I feel
I think that is also what I think that is also what we as science students should do. Take things from the classroom, from the textbooks, from the research laboratories to the common man in the language and in the way they understand.
Yes. So that is what I take a thing from your points. You basically want to educate people and create awareness about the pandemic. But my suggestion for all of you guys, I feel it's not about doing big research. It's all about converting small things to the layman so that it is for a better society. So that's the first input what I got from Sundar. Yes, anybody else who wants to make your comments on this? Who wants to share your ideas on the question which is put forth to you? Yes, Viduran.
So basically, the pandemic has indeed shook the world, and a lot of people are clueless about what the virus is, how it's going to be transmitted. It's been a couple of months now. Now, with the advent of the internet, the essential aspect of a scientific invention was understood with the advent of the pandemic, which is the internet. So today, anything is possible with the internet. People with a distance of countries apart can talk with ease with the facility of the internet. So until and unless we have the necessity to do something, we don't do it, which is what the pandemic has taught us. The first thing that it has taught us, where it has used the aboriginal part of science and innovation. So here, talking about science and innovation, I would strongly say that science and innovation are not two different entities, but are one and the same. Innovation is actually science itself. So you cannot have the word innovation without the implementation of science. So it took humans 8 months to understand that, and it took a big virus basically to make them understand. So the second point is humans adapt to survive. That is in our genes. We've been doing that for a long time, a couple of thousand years now. So we adapt to survive. So whatever the situation is, whatever we are thrown at, we find out a possibility, and that possibility in most cases is found out with the help of science. So you eliminate science from the field of survival, you cease to survive. That is what my point is basically. So this pandemic, I don't know, for a lot of people, it might have been tough, it might have been troublesome, it might have been very challenging, but for scientists, indeed, it was a chance for them to evolve. It was a chance for us to evolve and take science to the next level and bring it to the society so that it becomes feasible to every citizen of the country. The advent of vaccine, it was 8 months and humans just found out a new vaccine to fight the virus. So that's like a lot of work. That's a lot of work which goes unrecognized if not for this virus. I'm not giving credit to the virus that has killed a lot of people, but we sometimes fail to understand the reality. is what I felt. Psychological sciences have peaked in the lockdown period. Basically, before that, psychological sciences have not been given the actual importance that it had to be given. And now, because you keep someone captive for a long time in one place, they go crazy. So that's what happened in the past 8 months. A lot of people have been stabilized in the same place without being mobile. So there again, a necessity is created where you have to employ the technique of science, the technique of psychology, in order to bring the people out of crisis. So every time there is a crisis, the solution is brought out by the actual implementation of science, is what I wanted to say. That is what the pandemic has taught to me.
So basically, Vidhuran is a fan of Charles Darwin. So he's trying to evolve, he's trying to be a survivor by adapting to the situations. Okay, wonderful, Vidhuran. Yes, Vishnu or Ramya, anybody? What are your inputs about this?
Okay, I think
Please go.
Vidhuran and Sundar sir has already taken my place, and they have answered in my place as well. So, but nevertheless, I would say I would definitely agree and back Vidhuran's point, telling that how psychology as a science has taken an edge and the importance has created. I think every now and then during the 8 months of isolation or lockdown, I have personally witnessed at least 5 webinars or trainings that come up every day pertaining to mental health, which was revolving all around us. I mean, my social media, my WhatsApp was flooded with messages on the webinars, trainings that was taking forward pertaining to mental health in itself. So that in itself showed how important mental health took a place in the human's life. And of course, there was definitely a lot of hardships as an individual went through. There were 2 positives and negatives together. So having said that, there were population who were enjoying their time and space during that lockdown, but on the other end, there were population who were definitely suffering socially, economically, in all ways. They were definitely suffering. There was a lot of violence that increased in the households, majority of the households. So there comes the aspect of psycho-education, making people understand that, listen, you have something way beyond this. You need to overcome this. Psycho-educating people about it needs to be adapted. I think as humans, we have inbuilt tendency to adapt to the newer situation. Definitely agreed with Vidhuran. But there are few people who couldn't take that new change at the initial days, which led to a lot of mental disturbances, mental stress. Of course, that at the end of the day, where comes the psychology as a subject and where we intervene and help them. And also, thanks to the various governments, the Indian government and the various state governments, they took initiatives of the helplines, and we were, as mental health professionals, we got an opportunity to get into the reality of it, of how individuals are suffering. So yes, I agree that mental health as a psychology as a subject also needs and is taken a lot of edge during this pandemic. So as in, the professionals have good experience and they have learned a lot, but on the contrary, that is not something great to tell. There is suffering behind. So that's from my end. So thank you.
So what I understood from Ramya's conversation was, Ramya has this power or hunger for knowledge, and I feel based on the webinars she's being attending, I feel knowledge is power, and the power of knowledge is what we require to rule over a society. And psychology is one of the important power what each and every person should have, because during this pandemic, I have noticed a lot of people who become psychologically very disturbed and weak. Either it could be because of their financial crisis, or it could be because of the unawareness about the virus. Yes, Vishnu, over to you.
quick few words from my side. So the pandemic really shook the world because we were facing a situation which had not been faced in over a century, actually. And while the world was scrambling to understand what was causing this, how do we better solve this situation, it was actually quite amazing how everyone came together, not just as individuals or groups of people, but actually as entire nations came together to save lives. The government initiated lockdowns, even though that could take huge risks on its economic situation, but it put the lives of the people of the nations forefront. It did not want to risk that. And in the meantime, it issued safety regulations like wearing masks, sanitary situations. If you have symptoms, you should isolate yourself. And these were conveyed in very simple formats. A simple phone call would tell you for 30 to 40 seconds what you should follow. And we still have, now it has changed. It's become the vaccine. And the most simplistic way to convey a message, I was actually quite amazed when I thought back about it, when I was hearing the thoughts shared by the rest of the panel. But I think this situation has prepared us, not just in the case of the pandemic, but the entire world to face, if God forbid it, but if we ever do face such a situation, we will be more prepared for it. And of course, mental health has been quite the situation, as Mr. Vidran and Ms. Ramya had shared. But I think we have a better outcome from this. Definitely a learning outcome from this situation. I think I'll end my few thoughts here.
I was just trying to share about a very small country like the country called Chile in South America. So they were not having much of science and innovation, but still they were able to find out the people infected by this coronavirus. So what they did was they chose a few breeds of dogs, and then they left the dogs in airports and public places, because these dogs were capable of identifying or recognizing those people infected by the virus. Because what happens is, whenever there is a viral infection, there is the body starts producing sweat, and the sweat which is produced by each type of fever or each type of health condition is different. So since they did not have all facilities to do the testing in their country, they used dogs. So because they wanted the entire country to be tested, so it was the most simplest thing. And again, when I talk about science, so some of the people are scared about dogs. Psychology also was involved when they were trying to use dogs to interpret or to find out which person is infected with the virus. So I definitely know when it comes to the police wing, they might use Dobermans or some ferocious dogs. But the Chilean government identified breeds such as golden retrievers and Labradors, which are friendly to human beings, so that they are not psychologically hurt or disoriented when the dog comes and smells. And that is how they were capable of doing this. And this was a research which was patented by a few scientists in England, and then this was utilized by the people in Chile. So this was a wonderful combination of forensic sciences, the dog squad, psychology and biology put forth together as one single science, and a simple mode of finding out an infected individual. So again, I would like to put a next question. What is the problem with the current situation or the current education system followed in India? What is the current problem with the situation? Because since you guys are alumni of this institute or of various institutions, you might know what was the problem which you faced and what is it required for further developments. So what do you think is the problem with the current system of our education?
I wouldn't say it's a problem, rather I would say an addition to what we're having now. So that is a bit of focusing on practical knowledge or the application based knowledge. Of course, we are definitely equipped in the theoretical. Anything you ask about theory, for this particular theory, majority of the students are very well equipped. They know a plus b whole square, so they are equipped. So if you ask me about the theory of motivation, I know there's a pyramid that falls into the theory of motivation, and I explain it. So how do I apply it? That there comes the drawback which needs to be added. Of course, it's just my thought process or my view. I would see, I think enhancing students with a lot of internship programs or external experiences. Like as a curriculum, yes, we have one internship that we have to finish. Majority of the colleges do have these, or universities have these, one internship, yes. But I personally took an interest and did multiple internships, which in my tenure of bachelor's and my master's, I completed 5 internships, which helped me and get an edge over others. And immediately after I passed out, getting placed. Before I pass out, I was being placed, and currently working with different organizations helped me, because the previous experiences that I had in the form of internships and other trainings and workshops that various other reputed national, international organizations conducted. So in one single line, I think emphasizing on practical or application-based knowledge is my thought, which could be an addition to our education system, sir.
So basically here, to begin with, let's break down the theme for today, which is about the future of STI, that is science, technology and innovation. So we basically talk about the impacts on education, skills and work. So the theme suggests the need for us to talk about the educative process, which we all have undergone or are currently undergoing, in such a way that it leads to an evolved status of understanding about its existence to benefit the very society that we have come out from. So what we took from the society has to be given back to it, which is where the education process is complete. But in the current scenario, it is quite saddening that the standardization of educative process, especially that of sciences, has indeed led to the production of experts restricted to certain limitations. So we have basically standardized everything. There is a lot of objectivity, which has led to a fall in the subjectivity of the subject, which is the very nature of science. It is quite individual. We do not know how it's going to be or how it will be. So that subjectivity has seen a fall. So my point basically is education must not be a collection of items of knowledge alone. That has no real right in the name of science, actually, in the current world. So everything being readily available with the advent of the internet, any talk about the purpose of education or such generalities should be highly encouraged from the student level itself. I would also like to quote some of the key points of the discussion, where we have mentioned insights into the influence of psychological, social, cultural, and environmental factors on how we learn are emerging from the new science of learning. So we have to basically sort out the relevance between our current education curriculum and future growth. Here I would like to tell a story from the speech of Sir Ken Robinson, who's a creative expert. So a teacher goes to a student who's painting a picture. The teacher asks, "What are you painting?" So the student tells, I'm painting a picture of God. So when the teacher is confused, the teacher asks, "Nobody has seen God." And the student immediately responds in saying that they will in a minute. So that sort of creativity is required in the field of science, especially. To conclude, enriching science schools, especially that of higher studies, with adequate freedom to question the objectivity of the methods of educating oneself, would lead to a high-end understanding of the subjectivity that lies in the subject itself.
Taking a step ahead from what Ramya and Viduran have said, and having been also a faculty, I think there are two key aspects that we need to concentrate on as an evolving educational institution, as well as individuals and as faculties, and probably future faculties. Point number one is we have to get out of the framework of completing syllabus. syllabus should only remain as a framework, a starting and ending point, because the subjects are too vast. So there has to be a guideline as to where you begin and where you end, given that there is only so much that a human brain can take at any given point of time. So we need to get out of completing 60 hours, 45 hours, and all those norms. We have to get out of that, and we have to, as educators, we have to push the government and policy makers to bring in changes at that level, to not put unnecessary mental stress on teachers and students to complete or stick by the syllabus. So once we do that, naturally the points Ramya and Viduran made with respect to practical knowledge, or being more practical, or kind of laboratory oriented, or being more creative and innovative, all these things will automatically fall in place, because there is only the framework and there is no set path. So individual can etch their path. The second thing that has to happen is all the faculties, I think personally, should start imagining themselves as facilitators and not teachers. Because we have been discussing this, the science, technology and innovation today has made availability of information on the fingertips easier for literally everyone. And of course, how they use it is again individuality, but information is available. At this information technology era, I think classroom teaching at some point becomes obsolete. So we as faculties should, I think, behave as facilitators, try to initiate discussions that are provocative, that make people think, and also support the kind of impromptu ideas which eventually will turn into innovation. So I think these two key points should be the way forward the educationalists, educational institutions, and at a much higher level, the policy makers should think in the coming days.
My assumption was not too far off from the points that Mr. Sundar, Ms. Ramya, and Mr. Viduran had shared. Well, of course, the points that they had shared were very valid, and I think they make up for pretty much all the thoughts that I reflect and share with them as well. But I think another point that I would like to share is, I still emphasize on it, is the opportunities that are available for the students. If you ask, suppose you ask a first year bachelor student, what do you want to become? They might give you a vague answer, or they might say something that is something that seems ideal for them. But if you ask them, okay, how do you plan to reach that goal, or how do you plan to reach that level of a career option, or so and so forth? And at this point, it becomes kind of vague for them to describe how they would reach that level. I had the opportunity to understand the path when I reached my final year in bachelor's, when I think the placements team actually sat all the students down and they took a one-on-one session and described to us, you could follow this path if you are interested in so and so stream. My future plans are still into academia. And I think this is something that we should implement so that the students know what do they have at hand, and how they could reach their goals, or their dreams, or their ideal career path could be further explored, even at possibly at an early stage, so that they can be more well prepared to set out on that path. And I think that's the point that I want to convey for this question.
Okay, wonderful. So we have finished with 2 questions now, and one last question for all of you. We have another 14 minutes of our time, because time is very valuable and precious for each and every one of us. One last question. I do not want you guys to think much and answer. I just want you guys to think and tell me, what is research and why is research?
In my opinion, personal opinion, research is trying to find out what nature is trying to tell you.
Research and spirituality are more or less the same, just like Mr. Sundar pointed out. It is not something that you search on the outside, but something that you search on the inside in order to have a clearer picture of what you're doing?
So I would say that it is nothing but one core aspect of the topic that we are discussing today. It's nothing but innovation. So I believe research leads to innovative thought process and innovative developments.
For me, on a personal level, research, I have multiple opinions on this, so it's quite difficult to choose one opinion on it. But if I had to choose one, it would be that research would be to take a look at the common everyday problems that, if not everyone, most of us face, and try to find a solution for it so that we could have a better life overall.
Yeah, thank you, Vishnu, thank you, Viduran, thank you, Ramya, and thank you, Sundar. Now that all of you have given your thoughts of the word research, for me personally, see, I'm not a person who's like a conventional teacher coming and telling you this and that. The word research is just cut into two: search and research. So if you put this together, people think it is like complex. So if you are searching for something again and again, you are researching for some things again and again. For what? So that is science. We are searching for something again and again to simplify which is already there. That should be research. Research is not complicating things. Research is something to simplify complicated versions. So my teacher asked me a question back in my college days. My teacher asked me a question: can you tell me some of the best research or biggest discoveries in life? And back then for us, we had not seen, or we had not used mobile phones, or we never had a personal mobile phone. So we had wanted one, or we wanted to use computers, we wanted desktops or laptops at home. So I told computers, light, bulb, all those. So but then this man was so impressive in his answers. Just like a layman, he told, don't you think a comb is one of the biggest research or a discovery? A comb. Because without, do you all agree that we all can survive without a computer or a mobile phone? But I feel we cannot put forth ourselves in front of the others without a comb. So the simplest discoveries are the biggest innovations. Biggest innovations come from simple thinking. I feel as science students or science alumni or science background people, we need to think about complicated things and simplify it so that it is understood and taken up for the society. And from my opinion, to come out through this pandemic, I think India is such a big country. Each and every single minds have different opinions. So we have to do the best and simplest thing is solid waste management. So whenever I try keeping my hand like this, it's called solid waste management. People will be thinking, what is it happening? So we have to use our brains and think of something which we can simplify and contribute to the society through our intellectual property ideas. So this becomes a property only when we are intellectual. If not, it is just a waste which has to be managed, right? So from this wonderful panel, what I have got from Sundar is to be aware, to educate, and what I have got from Viduran is psychological survival and evolution through psychology. And then yes, again, one more point, giving it back to the society. That was wonderful. Yeah, what you take has to be given back to the society. Yes, Viduran was also influencing spirituality into science. And then what I got from Ramya was accepting things, applying things through pyramid of bending, through internships. Yes, definitely people have to be giving internships, and this has to be put forth in the undergraduate and the postgraduate, definitely. And finally, coming back to Vishnu thinks everything is fun, everything is accepting and making it simple, and questioning. I definitely agree with points what Vishnu and Sundar has made, questioning. And that was wonderful. You should not be a teacher who's just coming and teaching and finishing your syllabus, or rather, I think it is questioning which is called the mother of all invention. Questioning leads is because of curiosity, and curiosity is the mother of all invention. And I think science is one such subject which can be involved through commerce, called the science of commerce, science of entrepreneurship, science of forensics, science of psychology. And I feel today's world, each and every individual has to be given the scientific way of teaching rather than the traditional and the conventional way of teaching. We have to think India is on the world economy is only because of population. That is my suggestion or my way of thinking, because whatever you do in India is going to be a big hit because of the population. Because there are so many consumers, so many innovators, so many researchers, and I feel India is such a wonderful country because of all of you guys. Each and every one of you are trying to contribute in your own ways for the betterment of the society. Definitely all your points are considered, and it will be further taken up by the Jain deemed to be university to implement in their education system. So that was the reason why we thought we will have this panel discussion, so that we can develop and come out through further progression in the way of learning and teaching. It should not be the way of teaching, because when we are teaching, it's the best way of learning. So I feel sitting on one side and then just listening to whatever the teacher tells, that age or that era is now, we have surpassed that era. It's all about interaction, and only I think when things are simple, people start interacting. When things are complex, people do not even bother to interact or touch that complexity there. So that was my point, and I feel there should be a lot of panel discussions like this, so that we can contribute and interact, so that it is for the betterment of the society. As Viduran was telling, give it back to the society. Homeostasis. What you get has to be given back to the society. So final remarks by any of you?
It was wonderful talking to people like you, getting a lot of ideas from different corners, shows you where you are. So compiling that, I would like to add just one more point to conclude all of our statements about the educational system or about the core of the topic today. So in India is considered as one of the youngest countries in the world. So 35% of the population of the Indians are students, that is from the age group of 5 to 25. We are either school going or post-graduating. So that is our start and end level. So taking that into consideration, there are a lot of successful people in India with the current education system. We have a lot of successful people from the conventional education system. Right now, we are not questioning the authenticity of the educative process, but we are suggesting improvements which would lead to a better future for the country. And being said that, we have a lot of successes, yes, but not because of the system, but in spite of the system. That is to be taken a little bit more seriously in the coming years, so that we really find out and we start to urge the necessity to implement new innovations in the educative process.
Yes, thank you. Any others? Your final remarks?
Firstly, thank you, sir, for this wonderful opportunity and making me part of this panel. And it was really great to get to know others' perspective, and definitely it's a learning for me as well. And as you told, gaining knowledge from different sections of the streams of science, it definitely added to my knowledge. So from there, I would, this is just my thought process, and I believe this can help. So I think as an education system or as future faculties or the current faculties, we need to make students understand just not to run behind opportunities, rather make them realize that as an individual you can create opportunities as well. So I think making students understand to create opportunities will help grow bigger as a nation as well and as an individual. So that's from my end. So thank you.
Thank you, Ramya.
Yeah, I think my final remarks would be India is a very huge land of opportunities in several aspects, and each one has the potential to create, enhance, and then kind of go ahead with the opportunities.
Yes, Vishnu.
First and foremost, thank you, sir. I think this has been an educational towards the fun side of learning experience for me. And of course, anything for me on a personal level with regard to Jain University has been always an exciting experience altogether. So I would like to thank you, sir, and of course, the team at Jain University for inviting me on this panel. I think on account of National Science Day, this is the questions raised were very important and crucial questions that I think every person involved in science, one way or the other, should be asking themselves at one point of their lives or another, or if they can, every day, to recognize what they are working towards or what they are enjoying on the level of science. So I would like to wrap up by saying thank you for this opportunity to join in on this panel. Yes, that's all. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Sundar.
Coming generations of educators, students, and literally every individual in the country be more equipped to get benefits out of opportunities, rather than making them kind of crippled to, kind of look for opportunities. They have to realize they themselves are capable of creating opportunities for themselves as well as for others. We need to bring in that thought process in the minds of Indians, because India is a huge land of opportunities, and it's only going to get bigger and better. And thank you for having me on the panel, and it was wonderful interacting with all the panelists. And thank you, Matthew sir, for being a wonderful moderator.
Thank you. And I would like to make my final remark. Let us not bring politics into science. Let us bring science into politics. And then let's make this wonderful country even more wonderful, and one of the best country for social, economic, and cultural growth. And we should be like a role model for the other parts of the world. So with this, I would like to thank Jain Group of Institutions, that is Jain deemed to be University, Office of Corporate Communication of JGI, the director and all the faculty members of the School of Sciences, and all the personnel involved in safe running of the School of Sciences and the entire Jain Group and all the other institutions across the country for bringing science, innovation and technology at this as a propaganda to see a change and revolution in the world. Thank you all for your wonderful time, and from my side, stay healthy, keep your life very simple, try to give it for the society. Let us all form men and women for the betterment of the society. Thank you all. Stay healthy, stay connected with your alma mater. Thank you.